Hello dear children, in the last video we have started our 5th chapter, what is moral action. It was written by Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. So in the last video we have seen mainly 2-3 things. Like we have seen in the first para, we have seen an introduction, the difference between moral and immoral or non-moral actions. Then we have seen some examples, real life examples, and how we can consider an action, whether it is moral or immoral or moral or non-moral that we have seen in the last video. At the end of the last video we were discussing about the great Alexander, King Alexander the Great, and Mahatma Gandhi was saying we cannot call Alexander like a moral. We can't say his actions were moral. It is okay to call, he is called as great. It is okay, it is all right to call as great, but we cannot say that whatever he had done were moral, because the Emperor Alexander, he had done a lot of good things. Like wherever he went in the course of his conquest, there everywhere he had spread Greek language, Greek culture, so that we are able to enjoy the Greek civilization now. But according to Mahatma Gandhi, whatever he had done good things, but behind all those things, the real intention was to conquer that particular country. He was so while he was in the course of conquest, he did all these things, but the real intention was this conquer only. So by giving this example, Mahatma Gandhi is saying that if your action want to be moral, then your intention also should be good. An intention, a moral act or a good action with bad intention cannot be called as moral action. If your action, if you want to your action to be moral, then your intention also should be moral. And by giving an example of Wendell Phillips, Mahatma Gandhi is saying that you should have a consciousness, or you should follow your conscience. Then only we can say that your action is moral. And always you should believe that God is within us. Then only we can have always our actions must be. If you want our action to be moral, then we should have a belief that God is within us and He is witnessing all our actions. Then we cannot do any bad actions. So our actions will be moral or good actions. So there were some conditions to make an action as moral. So these all things we have seen yesterday. Today we are going to begin from paragraph number 4. So let us start. These reflections prove that it is not enough for a moral act to have been done with a good intention, but it should have been done without compulsion. There is no morality whatever in my act if I rise early out of the fear that if I am late for my office, I may lose my situation. Similarly, there is no morality in my living a simple and unpretentious life if I have not the means to live otherwise. But plain simple living would be moral if, though wealthy, I think of all the want and misery in the world about me and feel that I ought to live a plain simple life and not one of ease and luxury. Likewise, it is only selfish and not moral of an employer to sympathize with his employees or to pay them higher wages lest they leave him. It would be moral if the employer wished well of them and treated them kindly, realizing how he owed his prosperity to them. This means that for an act to be moral, it has to be free from fear and compulsion. When the peasants rose in revolt and with bloodshot eyes went to King Richard II of England, demanding with their rights, he granted them the rights under his own seal and signature. But when the danger was over, he forced them to surrender the letters. It would be a mistake for anyone to say that King Richard's first act was moral and the second immoral, for his first act was done only out of fear and had not an iota of morality about it. And so here we see the third aspect of morality, or if you want to say an action is moral, then there is some conditions that we have seen in the last video also. So here we see that if an action wants to be moral, then if you have good intention, that is not enough. It should be free from compulsion, fear and compulsion also. What is compulsion? Compulsion is a force. Someone is forcing you or something is forcing you so that so you do something good. Then you can't say that your action is moral. Or you have fear about something, that's why you are doing something good. Then also you can't say that your action is moral. So here we see some examples, 1, 2, 3 daily life examples along with one historical example Mahatma Gandhi giving to us. So let us see what is it. For example, I am waking up every day early and I am reaching my office sharp time because I scare or I have a fear if I reach late I'll have some problems regarding my job. On that fear, you reach your office daily on time, then you can't say that your action is moral action. In the same time, you reach there, like you reach your office at sharp time by like feeling very proud about your job and you like to do the job, you have a passion about your job, so you reach your office on time, means then only you can say your action is moral. Or else you reach there because of fear about your boss, or they will do something, or you will get some different situations from your boss or your head officers, then so that you are doing something, means so you reach a place with some fear, like you will get some different situations, like you will feel you will get some problems, then you are reaching your place on time, means you can't say your action is moral. Then another one example, daily life example, second one, that you are living simple and plain life because like you feel like you are thinking about the whole world. I am living in a good situation, at the same time my neighbors, my surrounding people, they lead a poor life. On that thought, you are living a simple and plain life, then your action is moral. But what others will think, if I lead a good life, what others will think, on that thought you are leading a plain and simple life, means even though you are helping others, you can't say your action is moral. So when you do something, if it wants to be a moral action, then it must be away from fear and compulsion. Mahatma Gandhi says this point also. Then another one example what Mahatma Gandhi gives us, an employer, we can say like this, and a boss, he is increasing the salary of his staff by a thought, if I don't increase the salary, then maybe my staff will leave this office. On that thought, like it is a force for you, if you don't increase, then you will get some problem. That is a force, that is called compulsion, that we have seen in the beginning of this paragraph. On that compulsion, on that force, you are going to increase your staff salary, then you can't say the action of the boss is moral. But at the same time, he is thinking like this, now because of my staff, because of my employees, I am getting this development, I am getting this improvement in my working field, in my business, so I should have to improve their salary. On this good thought, without any force, by himself, by a good thought, the boss is increasing the salary of the employees, then his action is moral. So these are the three examples from daily life Mahatma Gandhi is giving to us. First thing, we have seen that reaching office on sharp time without any fear and by a passion, then your action is moral. Or else you have a fear, if you don't reach on time, then you lose your job. On that fear, if you reach or if you do all your things in the right way, then your action is not moral. And second case, if you lead a simple and plain life by thinking about the miseries in the world, then your action is moral, or what others will think. On that basis, on that thought, you are leading a plain life, then your action is not moral. And the third example was an employer, a boss. he is increasing the salary of his employees by a thought of like maybe if I don't increase they will leave the job. On that compulsion, on that force you are increasing, a boss is increasing the salary of the employees, then his action is not moral. But he is increasing the wages, he is increasing the salary of his employees by a positive thought, like because of them I am getting improvement in my business. On that thought, if the boss is increasing the salary, then his action is moral. These are the examples from daily life. We see an example from history. It was like this: when the peasants rose in revolt in England, once the workers, they were in a revolt. What they said means, at that time King Richard II was the king in England. So there was a lot of bloodshed, there was a lot of like we can say more problems were there. So because of that revolt, because of the bloodshot eyes, King Richard agreed for the conditions of the peasants. Then he granted their rights and he sealed them and signed. After some days, the problem solved. Peasants, they went back from the revolt. After some days, there is a revolt, everything had finished. Then again the King Richard, he asked the peasants to give everything back, which means first by feeling a scare, King Richard II agreed for the conditions of the peasants, and once it finished, once it had completed, at that time again he asked all the letters back. So what we can say? We can say in this case, now according to us we will think, okay, first what he had done, it was correct because he agreed, but his second act is not moral. So we are saying that first action is moral and second action is not moral. So according to Mahatma Gandhi, these both actions are immoral or non-moral only. Why? Because according to Mahatma Gandhi, when action wants to be moral means it should be away from fear and compulsion. First, when King Richard II agreed for their condition, it was only because of fear. It was only because of the fear and compulsion. So he agreed for their demands and conditions. And after that he had done, it is because everything was completed, so he asked back. So even his first act also we can't say as moral, because it was only because of fear and there is no morality in that. So according to Mahatma Gandhi, an action wants to be moral means it should be away from fear and compulsion. Just as a moral action should be free from fear and compulsion, so should there be no self-interest behind it. This is not to say that actions prompted by self-interest are all worthless, but only that to call them moral would detract from the dignity of the moral idea. That honesty cannot long endure which is practiced in the belief that is the best policy. As Shakespeare says, love born out of the profit motive is no love. So one action wants to be moral means it should be free from fear and compulsion, and it should not be having any self-interest behind that. For example, you are doing something good and according to others or in front of others' eyes, your actions are moral, but you have some self-interest or you have some hidden interest behind that. You will be having some profits from that. Then you can't call that your actions are moral. Mahatma Gandhi is not saying all the actions by self-interest are worthless, but we can't call that moral. If you want to call moral means, then the morality side should be changed. Moral action should be always moral. If you want to call that, you should not be having any self-interest. Maybe you are doing good, but you can't call it as moral action. So once Shakespeare said, love born out of the profit motive is no love. For example, you are loving somebody and you have some self-profit for that. So you love, then you can't call it as the real love. The love is like it should be away from the thought of profit also. Love born out of the profit motive is no love. So always you can't believe like that. When you do something by a self-interest, then also you can't call it as a moral action. So if one action wants to be moral, it should be free from fear and compulsion. At the same time, it should not be having any self-interest also. You do something and you have no other intentions, you have no other profit from that, then you can call it as moral action. Just as an action prompted by the motive of material gain here on earth is not moral, so also another done for consideration of comfort and personal happiness in another world is non moral. That action is moral which is done only for the sake of doing good. A great Christian, St. Francis Xavier, passionately prayed that his mind might always remain pure. For him, devotion to God was not for enjoying a higher seat after death. He prayed because it was man's duty to pray. The great saint Teresa wished to have a torch in her right hand and a vessel of water in her left, so that with the one she might burn the glories of heaven and with the other extinguish the fires of hell, and men might learn to serve God from love alone without fear of hell and without temptation of heavenly bliss. To preserve morality thus demands a brave man prepared to face even death. It is cowardice to be true to friends and to break faith with enemies, those who do good out of fear and haltingly have no moral virtue. Henry Clay, known for his kindliness, sacrificed his convictions to his ambition. Daniel Webster, for all his great intellect and his sense of the heroic and the sublime, once sold his intellectual integrity for a price. By a single mean act, he wiped out all his good deeds. This shows how difficult it is to judge the morality of man's action because we cannot penetrate the depths of his mind. We have also the answer to the question raised at the outset of this chapter: what is moral action? Incidentally, we also saw which kind of men could live up to that morality. So, here we see like it is a continuation of the last para. You have some self-interest, like you do something good by a motive of material gain on the earth, then your action is not moral action. Here we see some great people as example. Mainly we see two great souls as example. So let us see, you are doing something for your comfort and personal happiness, otherwise you are doing something. For example, you are praying to God by thinking, if I don't pray, I won't get a place in the heaven. Then your action is not moral. Or you for example, someone did someone did something to you, you forgive them because of some thoughts like, oh, if I don't do, something will happen to me. Then your action is not moral. One action, if it wants to be moral, it should be only like a pure thought. It should be a pure love. Here we see some like two example of great souls. First one was St. Francis Xavier. He is a great Christian. Always he passionately prayed to the God, because according to him, he was not praying to God to get a good seat in the heaven after his death. For example, nowadays we have a belief in all the caste. We have a belief after we have a life after death. Once if we die, we will go to a place, we call it heaven or hell, according to our actions what we have done in the earth. Depends on that, we will go to heaven or hell. So we have a belief like this. So because of the belief you are doing good means your actions are not moral action. Maybe it is good, but it is not moral action. So here we see St. Francis Xavier as an example, because he always prayed very passionately. For him, devotion to God was not for enjoying a higher seat after death. According to Francis Xavier, he is praying not to get a good seat in the heaven after his death. He prayed because according to him, it is man's duty to pray. We have got a birth in this world. So it is our duty to pray. It is our duty to thank to the Almighty God. So Francis Xavier prayed, and entire his life, if we check it out, entire his life he spread the message of love only. He never hated anyone. He never spread any negative messages. Always he spread the positive message. Always he spread the message of love. Always he spread the message of prayer. Then another example that we see is a great soul, that is Mother Teresa. We have listened a lot about Mother Teresa, Nobel Prize winner for peace. These all things we have seen. Mother Teresa wished to have a torch in her right hand and a pot of water, a vessel of water in her left hand. It is very simple. The reason for torch, to show the glory, to burn the glories of heaven, and the water to extinguish, to finish the fire of the hell. So she was thinking in that way. Always she has a temptation towards God. not any material gain, like in this world I'll get some popularity, or some after my death I will get a good seat in the heaven. These both saints, both good souls, they both had no intentions like this. Their intention just to spread the message of love. We can't imagine that having a torch to show the glory of heaven and having a vessel of water to extinguish the fire of hell. We can't think also all these things. If we want to think in that sense, we should have a moral mind. We should have a good, kind heart with us. Then only we can think all these things. So for them, serving God without any intention, they are serving God and spreading the message of love in the whole world. So they had no other self-interest or no other intentions behind their all actions. So we can call that their actions were moral actions. To preserve morality, and this demands a brave man prepared to face even death also. So sometimes when we stand in the moral side, we will get many problems, like maybe we have to face death also, even though we have to be very strong, we have to be very bold in any situations. Sometimes we see some people, they always will stand. For example, some people will say, I stand with this caste, or I stand with this. In front of our friends, we will announce that we will stand in that side. And when we get some problems, when we face some challenges, we leave all the beliefs. So it is not good. With friends, you are showing one face. With friends, you are being very true, and with enemies, you are breaking your truth, your beliefs, and that is not good. So according to Mahatma Gandhi, if one action wants to be a moral action, it must be it must be away from self-interest. It must be away from material gain. You should not think like that. I'll get something, so I do this good things. Now we have seen some examples, like if I do, I'll get some prestige, social prestige. We saw two people in the last video. We saw two people. They do the same thing. They feed poor people, but one, he feeds the poor people without any self-intentions, like interest behind that good action. There was no other hidden intentions. But the second one, he feeds the poor people by thinking about the social prestige. So his action was not moral action. So if one action should be moral, then it must be away from material gain also. You will get something, so you are doing good, means your action cannot be called as moral action. So here we see some two examples. One is Henry Clay and another one is Daniel Webster. Henry Clay, he is well known for his kindliness, his moral values and all, but for a price, for his ambitions, he left all those things. He sacrificed all his convictions to his ambition. And Daniel Webster, he is well known for great intellect, his sense of heroic, and he was very sublime. He is very good, he was very kind, he was very like a heroic character. He had a great intellect, but for a price he sold all his intellectual integrity. So just once only they both have done this, but until that, whatever they had earned from the society as a good name, they sacrificed all those goodness for a price, for one situation. So just for once, by a single mean act, they wiped out all the good deeds. So by saying all these examples, Mahatma Gandhi says that this shows how difficult it is to judge the morality of man's action, because we cannot penetrate the depths of his mind. Penetrate means like pierce. We can't that much deeply, we can't go through. We cannot go through their heart, through their actions. So it is very difficult to find out an action is moral or non-moral, because we see some people, they might be doing good, but they will be having some hidden intentions or self-interest. So through this chapter, Mahatma Gandhi tried to give answer for a question, what is moral action? And incidentally, we saw some examples also, and how we can live up to that, morality that we have seen through some examples. So this is the chapter. Through this chapter, Mahatma Gandhi, by some simple examples, Mahatma Gandhi is trying to give an answer for this question, what is moral action? We have seen some conditions for an action to be moral. We have seen that it should be free from fear, compulsion. It should not be having any self-interest. It should not be having any material gain. It should not be having any social problem. We are doing something good by keeping some bad intentions in your mind. then your action is not moral. Then you are doing something good by fear of something, then your action is not moral. Or you are doing something good by compulsion, by a force of someone or something, then also your actions are not good. You are doing something that you have some material gain, maybe after I am doing something good for people, after my death I'll get a good seat in the heaven, so you are doing some good things, then also your actions are not good. So your action wants to be good. If you want your actions to be good, if you want your actions to be moral, then your action must be away from all these. It should be pure. It should not be having any other intentions. It should be, you should have a good intention, then you can have a moral action. So through some simple daily life and historical examples, Mahatma Gandhi tried to give answer for this one question only, what is moral action. I hope you understood this chapter, very simple chapter. Easily I hope you can understand by reading once the chapter. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment box. I'll be clearing your doubts. The glossary and the notes of this chapter will be given in the description box. So see you in the next video with the next chapter. Thank you. Take care. Bye.